We both wanted to love. Your father loved. And now I have loved.
Hey, so a few things to clarify with this video. Part 1, which was made 9 months ago. I'm, very, very bad at that. A few things to clarify. The first video was looking at part 1 as a isolated narrative. This is important because while we have a bunch of modern day context for FNAF 1, like the week before, I was purely looking at it as an isolated media back then, and why I think it was good on its own. So, why cover the Silver Eyes? The Silver Eyes came out in 2015, only a year after FNAF 1, and it's heavily based off of it. And while that alone doesn't seem like a lot, I think they go hand in hand, just solely off of the themes present in the Silver Eyes after analyzing FNAF 1. And especially considering how close it came out to FNAF 1, how in production it would have been written within months of FNAF 1 coming out, you can consider that Scott would have been in the same mindset he was in for FNAF 1 still. Given explanation to why I think these two go hand in hand. So, with that being said, I think it's about time we start the video. Do you still remember your childhood friend group? Maybe you still talk to them frequently, or maybe you just occasionally do, due to growing up and moving away. What if it came back to haunt you? The Silver Eyes is a story of many things, one of them being a childhood that doesn't seem quite right upon looking closer at it. The story is from the perspective of Charlie, a 17-year-old revisiting her childhood town and friend group in the year 1995. And she starts this journey by revisiting her old childhood home. The house serves as a permanent reminder that her childhood, while fond to her, is not all that it seems. The place is subtly off, be it toys that, while once comforting, are now withered reminders of the time that has passed. She may walk through and look, but not touch, any of what has remained. It's a shell of its former self. And as she stays longer and longer, she slowly starts to realize this before becoming uncomfortable with the place and realizing that she needs to go, no longer being able to bear the memories of what was once here. We skip over to Charlie leaving the house to go meet up at a dinner. Turns out the reason she's back in town is for a sort of ceremony. Her friends were all meeting up again after all having moved away for over a decade. They catch up about how life went over the period of time and all the things they missed before jumping over to why they are here. 10 years ago, one of their friends, Michael, tragically went missing. The events following being a sort of remembrance his parents wanted to have for their fallen child. It's honestly heartbreaking to see them all trying to talk about the good memories of their childhood, and every time Michael comes up, it's honestly something you don't see the FNAF games cover enough. Yeah, we know that these children died, but they usually just come across as numbers. Blank faces for us to assign to a killer, or a game to show how many animatronics are possessed or how evil somebody is. We never stop to actually see the impact that these losses have on those around the kids, let alone the kids themselves. And so these moments, I feel, just hit so much harder when we finally get to see that in the Silver Eyes. It's something I honestly wish that the movie covered. I get that that's not easy to do for something like a movie or even a game, so it's just nice to see that here in the Silver Eyes. I think it adds so much to the air of the story, and if anything, properly showing the impact that these losses had on the various people builds up the villain even more. Of course, as the group continues talking, one common subject comes up. Something that looms over all of their childhoods. For better or for worse. And that of course leads us to... Of course, the story had to eventually lead us here. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. The setting here can be described much as it is in Fnaf 1. A decrepit, decayed husk. Unlike its Fnaf 1 counterpart, however, the building here has been completely abandoned for a little over a decade. The main cast attempt to get in, but get caught by the old building's security guard. A scrawny man, presumably in his 40s, named Dave, who begrudgingly offers to let them inside. So long as he gets to tag along, of course. After a bit, they walk around and all seems well. And eventually they find a hidden mechanism under the stage. Turns out the animatronics have an entire control board for shows. As it seems none of the kids can get it to work, Dave gives it a try as the animatronics spur to life, moving as they once did during their showtimes. As the kids watch in bewilderment, everything shifts in the air when suddenly they see him. The animatronics are such an important part of the story. Of course, that feels obvious, given it's a Five Nights at Freddy's book. But when you look at most other FNAF books, especially the modern ones, it becomes surprising how much of a backseat they can take at times. Here, not only are they the main focus, but it's made clear how big of a threat they are. I always wished we got to see these guys in proper action outside of a guy sitting in an office, and I'm so glad the books not only do that, but show how scary these guys really can be. In FNAF 1, they move around almost like zombies, staring at you with blank, calculating eyes as if they already decided that they would gut your insides out with their bare hands. Here, they are coordinated rabid hunters kept on a thin leash sent out to reap anyone who dares step into their sacred domain. These kids are kept tethered to these machines on someone else's whim, sent out to do his dirty work. There's a scene that absolutely terrifies me related to Bonnie. Charlie barely manages to run and hides in a bathroom stall as Bonnie enters the room. It's quiet for a moment. Too quiet for minutes on end, as the sound of moving metal and stretching fabric can be heard, joints moving in a way they weren't designed for. Charlie looks down only to be met by the cold plastic eyes of Bonnie, barely visible in the pitch black room. One thing that is so cool in retrospect is that he breathes. This thing breathes a heated, putrid breath as if it still thinks it's human. As Charlie flees from under the stalls, Bonnie with no effort rips the stall off their hinges in his pursuit of her. It's almost as if they aren't fully accustomed to their bodies, taking the time to bend over and check, not realizing it could simply rip the stall off if it's so pleased. They don't know their own strength, and you better hope they don't realize it.
If I could just...
I wouldn't do that.
Who is it? Let me out of this. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. Never trust a rabbit, I say.
Don't speak.
What kind of name for a serial killer is Dave?
I told you not to speak. It's not an order. It's a friendly reminder. Do you know what I put you inside?
Your girlfriend?
You're amusing, but no, you're not wearing a costume. These suits were designed for two purposes. To be worn by men like me, be used as working animatronics, like the ones you can see on stage. Understand? You see, all the animatronic parts in this suit are still in it. They're simply held back by spring locks. You can trip those spring locks very, very easily. It takes almost no movement at all. That's a very old costume, one of the first Henry made. If you trigger those spring locks, two things will happen. First, blocks themselves will snap right into you, making deep cuts all over your body. A split second later, all the animatronic parts, all that sharp steel and hard plastic, will be instantly driven into your body. You will die, but it will be slow. You'll feel your organs punctured, and the suit will grow wet with your blood. You will know you're dying for a long, long time. Try to scream, but you'll be unable to. Your vocal cords will be severed. Your lungs will fill your own blood until you drown in it.
How do you know that?
How do you think? Don't move.
Finally, I get to talk about him. William Afton, the main villain of the series, as well as the Silver Eyes, of course. What you just heard is a narrated excerpt from the Silver Eyes. One thing Scott seems to struggle with is getting William Afton's character consistent in the sense that he bounces from being an evil scientist to a realistic serial killer. And while the latter seems to be the modern approach, what I like about the Silver Eyes is it was written before Scott settled on that characterization. What makes William so scary in the Silver Eyes is he's a mostly grounded actual serial killer. He's a fucked up weirdo who genuinely gets enjoyment out of killing children. William in the Silver Eyes, based on what we know, most likely originally killed Charlie out of simple anger. We see in his journals how much he envied Henry, and most likely saw it as a way to either level the playing field, or just get his anger out. Silver Eyes William is a textbook narcissist, among many other things. And while I'm not going to go into a detailed psychological analysis of him, I still think it's a very obvious call out to make. But his original kill comes from impulse in taking Charlie's life, in envy of his business partner. And what I think makes it a scary implication is that he never planned out to be a serial killer, or explore these urges he could have possibly had. This was a sheer coincidence, where in taking Charlie's life, he realized how much he loved it. One small choice led to a path of destruction and the reckoning of so many lives. Of course, there's a second aspect of his character that's worth talking about, but I feel a small detour is needed before we get there. I of course had to bring it back to where it all began. This is the very first time in Fnaf that we get to see Fredbear's family diner, which is still crazy to me. The place resides in an abandoned town miles out of where the main story takes place, overgrown with grass and greenery several feet high, the sign of the place having fallen off its stand, being practically buried. The place almost feels like sacred ground one should not dare to step into, not because something bad will happen, but because you simply shouldn't. By the point we see it in the story, everything is already cleared out. Any furniture, animatronic, or even stage. All that's left is the outline of what was once there. I feel this section of the Silver Eyes is so important because it's what sparked the FNAF community's interest in Fredbear's Family Diner. The place, even to this day, feels like such a sacred and mysterious era of the timeline that we know very little about, and it's in large part due to the Silver Eyes. We even hear of Fredbear and Spring Bonnie performing from flashbacks. It's a point in the story I halfway feel we should never learn too much about, for everything about it that's unique is how little we know. Perhaps in the future I'll make a FNAF 3 analysis and get to talk about Fredbear's more in that possible video. The general gist of it to me is that Fredbear's Family Diner, while a small section of the story, sets the groundwork for so much, and especially Mr. Fredbear himself, or rather Golden Freddy. Golden Freddy is a prominent character here, being one of the only kids who never got to fully possess a suit. Michael, the one that I mentioned earlier in the video. This led to Michael taking the ghostly form of Golden Freddy, but not a physical one, having more clarity than the others and acting as a sort of guide to them. He's the main reason the cast survives the entirety of this book. Through him helping his friends realize what was happening and the corruption of William, he leads to their eventual victory. It's strange looking at how casually I'm talking about this now. Back in the day, this was huge news. The entire book was filled with so many implications at the time, it amazes me looking back. The other thing to note on the general topic of Fredbears is, of course, Spring Bonnie. We knew about Fredbear since Fnaf 1 via Golden Freddy, but Spring Bonnie was always a wild card thrown in. We never fully knew there were two suits till Fnaf 3, to the point that Fnaf 3 teasers had people thinking that Spring Bonnie was Golden Freddy. It's crazy to think that this is the first full debut of the guy, not counting Fnaf 3. Speaking of Spring Bonnie, of course, I think it's about time we go back to a certain someone.
When it gets dark, they will awaken. The children's spirits will arise. They will kill you. I'll just walk out in the morning, stepping over your corpses, one by one. All they know is that you are here, trying to take away their happiest day. You are intruders. You are grown-ups. None of you will survive the night.
And what makes you think they won't kill you too?
Because I am one of them.
The second half of William Afton's character. You see, it almost feels wrong calling him William Afton. The main part of his character the book establishes is his reliance on the Spring Bonnie suit. Now, if you haven't read the book, you may assume he has some sort of physical issue and uses it to help with that, but it's nothing like that. No, rather, his mental stability relies on the suit, viewing it as almost a true skin for himself. He runs full of joy to it at the start of the book and is never seen performing a kill or attempting one without it. Viewing it as needed for it, almost like a ritual. It's like he isn't himself when he's not in the suit, even refusing to speak till his helmet is bestowed upon him at a certain point in the story. He views himself as part of the suit. It's clear he didn't originally murder the kids knowing they would possess the animatronics, but at some point he found out. He views them as some sort of twisted family he's made. He needs control and power, and that urge is taken out on them. He's so far down his delusion that he thinks he's one of them. He only views himself as, well, himself with the suit on. He keeps these children stuck here for his own twisted game that he himself is a player of. It's genuinely sickening. He ripped these children away from their homes only to force them into a hell of his own making, using them for his sick desires to further hurt people. It's one of the aspects of the Silver Eyes that truly makes me physically uncomfortable to further think about. The fact that these children, probably no older than even 10, are put through this by this sick, twisted excuse of a man. It's enough to make me sick to my stomach. Everything about how he speaks to how he kills is part of a performance, like he's always in character. Like he himself is the act, and Spring Bonnie is who he truly thinks he is. It's why I think this is the best version of William Afton. No villain in recent times has truly made me feel this disturbed, and it's so well done. I think that's all I have to say about him, honestly. With that being said, that was a lot. Now, admittedly, I'm going a bit off script here, but that was a long project. Truth be told, this was a several-month endeavor. The making of this video has taken a lot out of me, but I'm very happy with it. I knew I had to do something big for the holiday, and especially considering I was following up one of my favorite videos, and a very anticipated one. I knew I had to do something that went above and beyond. This is my longest video yet, and easily has the highest quality out of any of the videos on my channel. but it was definitely worth it. As I'm writing and voicing this, it's 5 a.m. in the morning, and I'm ready to completely fall asleep and just crumble into my bed. Huge thanks to Star Glitcher and Bitopie for the William Afton and Carlton narration respectively. They will be credited in the description. This video would not have been as good without them. They are very talented voice actors and friends of mine, so please show them some love. I have plans for more videos, some low quality or fun, silly videos, and some high quality ones too. And another video of similar quality to this one that I will hopefully be working on and have out within the next year. Aiming for 2026, around, I want to say March to April. So keep an eye on that. I also just wanted to comment on the fact that I am coming on a year of doing content. And I gotta say, it's been quite a journey, but I've enjoyed it a lot. I'm glad I decided to take the leap of faith and get into it, and I'm even more thankful that I have a small but dedicated fan base who support me and my content, and I'm glad it makes people happy. The support I get makes it really worth it, and it just makes me want to keep on doing this. Part of me makes these videos because I genuinely want to make these videos for myself and improve, but another part of me gets so happy when I see that it's made someone happy or inspired them in some way. I'll make what I can going forward among college and other responsibilities, and generally I look forward to see what another year of this brings. Thank you all for watching, and this is Asterix, signing out.